So I had to film this really quick. I am at Nelscott Beach in Lincoln City, Oregon. Just gonna pop a squat right in here. So just a quick backstory. I was up here visiting some family and also dropping off my work equipment to my old job that I no longer work at. And I brought my singing bowls with me and ended up intuitively leading them at my dad's. I had some guidance to not turn back and to instead just go home. So when I got home, I got this calling to plan another trip up here to retrieve them. Oh goodness. And I ended up planning a trip with my mom to come up here because we were both feeling really called to come to the ocean. And we knew that it was going to be for several reasons. Sorry about that. I had to make sure that my audio was okay and you guys could hear everything okay. Like I was saying, we felt that this was going to be quite a trip, that there was going to be a lot. We've had so many synchronicities in the past couple of months. June has been crazy. June was crazy. July has been even crazier. Just, like I said, so many energies, so many synchronicities. So we just knew. We had a feeling. But oftentimes, with all this stuff, when you're going with the flow, following things intuitively, you never know what you're going to get. And it's always like super duper surprising and really beautiful and something that you would honestly never expect. So we end up I love this. I am watching these two ladies. They've got to be at least in their 60s or 70s, and they were just running on the beach with their arms out like they were flying. And it is so beautiful to see people just really expressing their inner child. It's so beautiful. It's like making me teary. So anyway, so we get here and just, of course, followed everything intuitively. But we get here, and prior to getting here, I actually had this feeling that my mom and I were being called to some grid work. And if you're not familiar, grid work basically is just kind of taking your energy and any codes, activations, really just kind of activating the land and healing the land and anchoring your light and everything in certain locations. And really, you can do this even just by going to work every single day. It's just harnessing that light within you. You leave a mark of that literally everywhere that you step. So even just being in your hometown, doing your daily things can be grid work. But this was very particular grid work that I felt we were being called to. And so we end up here, and it was so much more than grid work. I started, walking into the ocean and was feeling the energy, and then I was just kind of like letting things flow intuitively, and I was just kind of really curious and excited to see what was going to come up. And there's been a recurring theme around balance of energies, tuning into the divine feminine, dragon energies, and awakening the dragons, and the ley lines. And if you're not familiar with ley lines are to Gaia what the meridians are in our body. If you're familiar with those, you can do like acupuncture or just massage. You'd be familiar with the meridians of the body. But that's what ley lines are in the earth. And you have dragons that have been dormant all across the planet waiting for these energies to be aligned, waiting for these frequencies to be at a specific level in order to awaken. And I know it sounds so crazy to some people, but these have been recurring themes, and it's no coincidence this is the year of the dragon, right? So I start getting this feeling that I need to start putting light language in the beach. So I just start writing some light language in the sand. And then I got this calling to take two of my stones, my moonstone and my rainbow peacock ore, which both have a ton of significance. It'll be too long of a video if I go into it. So look up both of those stones if you're curious. They're very, very significant and relevant to what I was just talking about. Especially with like the harmony, the balance, the feminine energy, especially with that moonstone. I'm also going to do another video about this trip just because, again, so many synchronicities. It's so crazy how everything came together. So I did two different things with the stones. I created kind of like a circle of rocks and then stacked some rocks on top of each other, and then I put the peacock ore on top of that and did some light language in the sand around that. And then I went out kind of further into actually closer to the water, and kind of dug down in where the sand is still wet, where the tide is still coming up, and I buried my moonstone in there, and then did some light language around that as well. So today's been kind of crazy, but as we were getting the downloads about the dragons and activating and awakening the dragons, my dog started looking around. Now, mind you, there are people here at the beach, but they're pretty far away from us, if I'm being honest. And there are dogs, but like I said, they're pretty far away from us. Not to mention, if you can look around, it's extremely foggy out here. Another note on that, my mom and I got into town a little after 2 p.m. It was clear, literally, not a cloud in the sky, sunshiny. The moment we get into town, this really intense fog just kind of set in. You can't even see the waves, I don't think. So this crazy fog set in. And as I'm talking with my mom about all of this stuff, we start talking about the dragons awakening. And then she gets this hit about this crazy fog that set in right as we get into town. So crazy, right? Just crazy. And she's like, I wonder if this has anything to do with it. And then out of nowhere, my dog starts looking around. But like, he's got his ears perked. He's just, like he sees and senses something. And I was like, oh, it's probably a dog. There's literally nobody around us. I mean, now there is, but at this time, there was nobody around us. He starts looking out at the ocean. He starts looking up into the sky, out into the fog. And then I just sat with it. I meditated on it for a moment, and I sat with it, and I was like, are the dragons awakening? Are the dragons awakening? And I felt no resonance in my chest. And then I said, have the dragons awakened? And I cannot even describe the pressure and the warmth inside of my chest. The resonance was just so intense. I don't have words. I really don't. How all of this just came together is just, it's really beyond words. But what I can say is it is beautiful. And if nothing else, I can also say, follow your intuition, follow that flow, follow your passions. I have not shared this yet, but I decided not to renew my pharmacy license, and I ended up without a job. So as of June 30th, 2024, I was no longer a pharmacy technician. But I have this beautiful healing practice that I have started, and I'm so eager to share what has come to me with the world and with whomever is ready for it. But I had to take a risk. I had to take a leap. I had to jump. But I was getting signs. I got synchronicities and signs and everything for months up until it actually happened. I knew in my gut that this is where I was going. And it's so beautiful to see things actually start to fall into place when you really, really do trust it. But you have to take a risk. You have to take a leap. And a lot of the time, most people want to overthink things, and they have to feel like their ducks are in a row, or like everything is ready. If you're feeling a nudge and a push, just do it. Just jump, just go. Even if you feel like, or even if your ego wants to make you think that everything isn't aligned, think of it like a GPS. When you put in the coordinates to go somewhere, the GPS is going to route you the quickest, most efficient way. It's going to dodge and avoid all obstacles that it can, no matter what. It doesn't mean you're not going to run into some jackass on the road, just being real. That might cause a little, maybe a little delay or a little stir, but it's going to be what is necessary for you. If you don't listen to that GPS, or you take the wrong turn, or you miss your turn, or you miss your exit or whatever, you're going to be rerouted, and it might not necessarily be the most efficient route that you were going to take in the first place. So just think of that like you are your highest self, and when you're tapping into that GPS, you're tapping into your highest knowing that knows the quickest route, knows all of the obstacles to avoid, knows where the traffic accidents are, and so on and so forth. So, yeah, I just really wanted to share that with you guys. I hope you guys are all having such a beautiful day, no matter where you are, what you're doing. Remember that you harnessing the light and living in your true authenticity, living your purpose, you're making a huge difference. Trust me, because I was at that point before here where I was like, shit, am I actually making a difference? I'm still doing these things that I feel like I'm not aligned with. But trust, you are still making a difference, even if you feel like you're not doing these things that you're aligned with. You feel like you're not living out your purpose. You're there for a reason. And just like grasshoppers, when they know how to jump, you'll know. Trust it. Trust your inner guidance. Trust the guidance of your spirit team, your ancestors, your loved ones, even your living guides. Trust them. But mostly, like I said, trust your inner knowing. Trust that resonance in your chest, however it feels, whether it's a pressure, whether it's warmth, fuzziness, whatever it is, trust it, even if it seems crazy or illogical. All right, I love you all. Have a beautiful rest of your day. As always, love, light, and blessings to you beauties. And just one more snapshot of this beautiful ocean. Take care, my loves.